statistical, mathematical fact
never has been down.
has broken every single record. There is no asset that has come close.
It's the only thing in the industry that was not touched, that was not hacked, and it never fails doing what it promised in 2009. It's never
What's
failed.
the best performing asset the world has ever seen? And you'll find out that it's Bitcoin.
Followers, supporters, lurkers, haters, Bitcoin deniers, negators, you're all welcome. Bozos, the intelligent ones, you know, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, you are absolutely welcome. Let me know where you're piping in from here, guys. Let me know where you're coming in from. What city, what country? Just give me a general idea. What part of the day, what part of the country, what city, what county, what corner of the world are you piping in from? Some lemongrass tea here. Bitcoin's paying utility bills in the future. It's paying a lot more than that. But yes, Quebec, Phoenix, Canada, Istanbul, Mexico, South Carolina. All right, I love it. Boston, Montreal, Mexico, Mexico, Australia, Virginia, India. Very, very nice. International audience here, guys. Got the glasses on today, guys. I can't do the non-glasses every single live session. The migraines that I experience after are just excruciating. So these sort of help my sensitive eyes a bit. I do have lighting like in my face here, so that's what it's protecting me against. I hope that doesn't bother you. All right. Chile, Czech, Czechoslovakia. But watching from the Netherlands, okay. India is in the house. Guys, we can start. We can start now. India's here. India's here. We can start, guys. All right, awesome. Welcome, India. Glad you came. We're waiting for you. All right. Tecito. Okay, look. Here's what I want to do today. I want to put to rest this silly notion that I still see far too often. Bitcoin has no utility. Bitcoin has no utility. Gold has utility. Silver has utility. This is the most asinine thing. And I can't believe that people are still parroting this in 2024. Are you serious? Utility? A sound money? Utility? I thought this was such an old, dead concept, but apparently not. Apparently, you know, what I found is that there's just a whole bunch of new people that come into the space and they just regurgitate third-party information that they've heard somewhere without really giving it any serious thought or any investigative effort. And, you know, today's very quick internet-based social media world that we live in, this has become more the norm. People don't dive in. People don't investigate anymore. People don't study. They're headline readers and they accept if it's on the internet, it's true. And if this person said it, it's true. And they're just parroters of third-party information that they've heard someone that they temporarily have respect for say, or some headline promoted, or what have you. But I'd like to take this myth and debunk it once and for all. I'd like to have an electronic footprint that I could just drop the link anytime someone says this silly bullshit that Bitcoin doesn't have utility. All right, so let's begin. Grab something to write with, grab the beverage of your choice. This is going to be interesting, I promise you, okay? Okay, Utility, a sound money. The last thing that you want a sound money to have, a real sound money to have, is a utility. Now, I know that might sound counterintuitive initially, but sound money is not supposed to have a utility. It's not supposed to have a utilitarian case for it. Its purpose is to purchase your utility. Now, I want you to regard utility as a part-time job. So when people say Bitcoin doesn't have utility, they often use things like, well, gold is used for jewelry and gold is used for dentistry. My grandmother has a gold teeth. You know, gold is used for certain electronics and transistors. And so what they're really saying is that my money, what I consider my money, also has a part-time job in dentist offices. So at some point, your money says, bye-bye, sorry, got to stop being your money. I need to go to my other job. I need to go to the dentist office. I need to go into someone's teeth. Are you serious? Oh, wait a minute. I know I'm your money, but I also have this other responsibility over here as being this person's necklace, this person's watch. Oh, wait a minute. I also have to be this person's wedding ring. So utility is almost like your money moonlights on you. I don't want my money moonlighting on me. I don't want my money to have a part-time job. I don't want my money doing anything else but being my money. I don't want my money to be a jack of all trades. I don't want it to do backflips. I don't want it to be a circus clown on a weekend. I don't want it to play the guitar or the saxophone at the local jazz club at nights while I'm asleep. I want it to be my fucking money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single second of my life. And I don't want it to do anything else but be my sound money. And you see, what a lot of people who have this view, they also do not have an historical understanding of how money has evolved throughout the human evolutionary process. In fact, the human evolutionary process is, in essence, a story of money. It's really the story of money. That's what the human evolutionary process is. And they don't have an understanding that money is a technology that has evolved along with the evolutionary process of the human species itself. So as humans evolved, so have the things that humans have used to interact with each other. Money is nothing more than an evolving technology. At one point in history, money used to be tools. So for instance, spears were money. You could trade with other clans for other things of value if you had extra spears, because spears gave clans the ability to kill what they eat. So more spears, more food, more life. Tools used to be money. All right. Staffs to fish used to be traded. That's a tool to gain more food, fish, that was served as money. These things had a utilitarian use case because of where we were in our evolutionary cycle, in our evolutionary path. We needed utility in this regard. As we evolved more, the need for utility declined. We don't need, at a certain point, we stopped needing the money to do something to make us eat, to do something to help us live. We got to a place in our evolutionary process where we begin to experience excess. I have killed more than I can eat today. Where do I put the excess? You see, before we evolved to having excess, more than we need at the current moment, we needed utility. I need this thing to kill animals right now. I need this thing to catch fish right now. But when we got to a place where what we killed, we were able to kill or obtain or acquire more than we needed at the current moment, another need arose, a need more potent, more powerful, and far grander than the need of utility, the need to store. I have all of this excess. Where do I store it? How do I preserve it? How do I keep it? This is my value. This is my safety. And so, at a certain stage, storage of your excess became the important thing. Store of value, people? Utility first, store of value second. Okay, we progressed to store of value because we had excess. I don't need the dollar today, but where do I safe keep the dollar for the future? Storage. As we continue to evolve, the monies that are more for storage and less for utility become more valuable. The storehouse grows bigger than the portion you need right now, this moment, this second. The store, you have more food in your refrigerator than on your plate right now. Your refrigerator stores food for the future. On your plate is what you need now. What's always bigger, the amount on your plate or the amount in the refrigerator? The amount in the refrigerator. So over time, as the human species evolved, the monies that stored became more important than the monies that provided a utility. And we kept perfecting monies. Which money today has more storage value than utility? That's the one the human race gravitated to. So it went from tools, it went from spears to arrows to slingshots to ammunition. You know what I'm saying? These are all with utility, to things like gold. What's the utility of gold is far less than the utility of a spear. Which more valuable, gold or the spear? Gold. The utility of gold is less. You use it for less in life than you use a gun, ammunition, a gun, arms. They used to serve as money. They still serve as money. The military complex sells arms for trillions of dollars. It's money, but it's has a utilitarian case. Gold has a higher utilitarian, has a higher storage of value. It has a less utilitarian value than a gun. So gold is usually more valuable than a gun. Gold, because its utility is low and its monetary value, just storage value, is high, it is more valuable than most things that have a utilitarian use case. The money that has utility is ancient money. We've left that stage. So the purer the money, the less utility it has. Gold, let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way. Let me show you something. This is going to be cool. So take a look at this, monetary premiums. The white shows you utility. The yellow or orange shows you monetary value, meaning not utility, just storage value, monetary storage value. Now, when we look at this, whatever has high utility will have a low unit price, okay? Whatever has no utility will have the highest unit price. So if we go from right to left, right, air has the most utility of anything of value on earth. We can say that air is valuable. Without it, in a few minutes, you're dead. So it is extraordinarily valuable to human beings. It is used more than anything on earth. Every single human being on earth is utilizing air every moment, every second, even when they're asleep of their lives. There is nothing utilized more than air. Air has the highest utility. What's the price? What's the value? It's free. Okay, let's go to water. Water also has a very high utility. It is the next most needed thing by human beings. You can last longer without food than you can last without water. It has a very high utility. And in many cases, water's free. But let's say, okay, most people in developed countries buy their water today $1. High utility, low cost. Okay. Now, copper. Copper is used in virtually everything. Guys, almost everything in this room, almost everything in this room almost everything you see has copper in it. You can't see on the desk or whatever, but almost everything. Why is that looking like that? I do it wrong? Yeah, like that. Weird. Almost everything, guys, has, a second, copper in it. This camera, the cell phone, all of my technology, everything, the lighting, the wiring in the walls, the printer, the computer, the laptop, this mic, everything has copper. Copper is one of the most used metals on planet Earth throughout the world. What's its unit price? $4. Silver has a very high utilitarian price, but less than copper. Copper is used more than silver. And silver is almost in everything, but copper is in more things than silver. And silver's unit price is 30. So do you see how the less utility, the higher the unit price? The more utility, the lower, all the way to free. The ultimate utility is free. The shrink the utility, the value rises. Shrink the utility more, the value rises. Now, gold is less utilitarian than silver. Look at its price, 2000. It's like 2000.5 now. I'm just rounding. Less utility than silver, yet more valuable than silver. Now, Bitcoin, zero utility. The coin itself, not the network. There's two different things here. There's the Bitcoin network and the Bitcoin itself. Utility zero. 100% monetary value. We, as a species, throughout our entire evolutionary path, have been in search of a money that's pure, non-utilitarian. We have been in a search for the perfect money. The perfect money doesn't have a part-time job. The perfect money doesn't do something else. It just stores. We have been in search. In fact, the entire evolutionary path of the human race can be basically explained by the search for the perfect money. And for the first time, we have a pure monetary good that's not used for something else, that doesn't cloud the issue. You see, the utilitarian aspect of something holds it down. The dentist industry that uses gold will say, gold's that price? I'm not using gold anymore. No, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. My clients can't pay that, so I'm using something else. And that less demand will bring the price of gold down. Do you understand? So the moment you introduce utility, you bring a market dynamic that keeps the price suppressed through a supply and demand element. So dentists will stop using gold. Electronics will use something else instead of gold if the price gets too high. When you take away the dentist demand, the jewelry demand, the electronic and transistor demand because the price is too high, that brings gold's price back down. When you don't have this utilitarian use case for your money, nothing brings it down. See where I'm getting at here, guys? You don't want your money having a utility. You don't want your money having a part-time job. The part-time job pulls its value down. Tell me you understand this. Am I making myself clear? Or do I sound like the parents on the Peanuts? Remember how the parents or the grown-ups on the Peanuts used to sound? I know I'm dating myself. The Peanuts? Charlie Brown? No? I'm the only one? Wah, 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 wah. You remember that? Okay. I'm the oldest one in the group. Okay, I get it. You guys don't know anything. But anyway, tell me, do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? We don't want Bitcoin to do this. We don't want it to be a freaking jack of all trades. Listen, the way I explain it is this, guys. Awesome. The way I explain it is this, guys. Okay? That's right. Good grief. That's right, Oscar. The way I explain it is this. Bitcoin as a pure store of value and nothing else. It's like a vault. Now, when someone of low IQ comes to me with this thing, well, it doesn't have any utility, I kind of feel out where their intelligence level. And if it's a little on the low side, I'll come up with this one. I'll use this one for them. All right. So hear me out. It's like, Bitcoin doesn't have any value, any utility, doesn't have a utility. Okay, so what's the utility of a vault? So the person says, well, Oliver, what do you mean a vault? So do you know what a vault is? I want you to imagine a big, giant, secure vault with a door so thick that nothing can get through, with one of those locks that you use two hands with. That kind of vault. What's the utility of a vault? It's a fucking empty space, right? It's empty in there. So what is it? What is an empty space? What is that empty space's use case? You say, well, to store valuables. So a vault with an empty space has utility? Yeah, as long as nobody can get in and take the valuables. Then I got him. Yeah, I got him. All right. So what if I told you that Bitcoin's a fucking vault? The safest, most secure vault on planet Earth. What if I told you you could put your life's work, your life's value in that space, block space, in that space, and for eternity, not a single human being could ever touch it, break into it, crack it, halt it, stop it, confiscate it, debase it, inflate it. It's the safest space in the entire universe. Safer than any bank, safer than any physical vault you know of. What if I told you you could put your whole life there? And it's the safest place to do that. Would you say that something like that no human being can ever touch, no group, no organization, no giant tech corporation, no three-letter agency, no nation state, no government, no human being can stop, steal, confiscate, ruin, halt, inflate, or deflate it away? Would you say that something like that has value? And you got it. At the end of the day, guys, it's just a vault. It's a vault, but it's like a magic vault, right? That when you put something in it, you are guaranteed it grows what's in it every 4 years, forever. Like, what vault do we have that does that? It literally takes the value and grows it every 4 years, forever. I was about to say until you die. No, beyond. It will continue to grow the value of that thing that it has, that you trusted to it, every 4 years, even beyond your death. So that whatever's in that vault will grow for your children, their children, their children, their children, for eternity. Now, would you say something like that has value? When you really get this, guys, it is truly mind-blowing. And when you strip, like, there's a lot of things that make Bitcoin very confusing, but if you strip it down to its essence, it's just the securest vault in the world, but a magic one that grows the value within it, mathematically guaranteed every 4 years. Now, some people say, well, Oliver, come on, man. How can you say that Bitcoin's going to continue to increase the value every 4 years? Come on, Oliver. Oliver, explain that to me. Explain it. I don't get that. That's confusing. Explain it, Oliver. Okay, I'll explain it. Okay, I'll explain how it's guaranteed. For the rest of your life, Bitcoin will jump in value every 4 years. Everything in between the 4 years is just noise. But 4 years to 4 years to 4 years to 4 years, it will grow forever. And as far as you're concerned, forever is your lifetime. So here's how it's done. Most of you are aware of the fact that Bitcoin every 4 years has an event called the halving event, right? And it cuts its issuance rate in half. This, in effect, creates a dynamic that makes the growing demand for Bitcoin chase a smaller issuance. So the demand stays the same. Well, the demand stays the same and continues to grow, but the issuance goes the opposite way. So as the demand for this is growing, the issuance is declining, which is causing a panic because there's not enough. And so Bitcoin is mathematically guaranteed to become more scarce every 4 years of your life until you die and beyond. Now, anything that becomes more scarce with rising demand is mathematically guaranteed to be more valuable every 4 years forever. I didn't make this up. This is not a supposition. This is fucking fact. Now, some people say, well, Oliver, that's how they sound. But Oliver, they sing like that at the end. Oliver, but Oliver, how do you know the demand is going to keep rising? Oliver, explain that to me. So right now, guys, Bitcoin has become the best performing asset on planet Earth. It has beat every single thing by orders of magnitude that we as human beings have ever held dear. Everything that human beings have ever cherished, have ever held dear, have ever wanted with all of their might, Bitcoin destroyed it over the last 15 years, right? It did all of this. It beat every asset that man has ever come up with. It has beat every investment, everything by orders of magnitude. And it did this with only half of 1% of the world participating. Half of 1%, not 1%, half of 1%. It got to number one with half of 1% of global adoption. Half of 1%. Now I ask you, is it all downhill from here? Or is that number just going to go up? We're at half of 1%. And it's crazy to me. Oliver, there's just diminishing returns from here. Are you serious? Wait a minute. We've risen to half of 1% and it's all downhill from here. Meaning, okay, it's just diminishing returns. Oh, it's half of 1%, Oliver. It's diminishing returns from here. Are you serious? Like in what world? In what world do you get diminishing returns after half of 1%? There's 2 billion people not even born yet. I keep telling you this. It is estimated by 2050, there's 2 billion more people. We have 8 billion people on planet Earth now. There's estimated to have over 10 billion people by the year 2050. There's 2 billion people in the waiting room waiting to come here to be a fucking Bitcoiner. You've got 2 billion people more in the waiting room that's going to come and want Bitcoin. And that's not even counting the fact that only half of 1% of the existing 8 billion people are in Bitcoin. So if you tell me that it's downhill from here, what company would think that, wait a minute, we've got potentially 7.5 billion more purchasers of our shit. And there's 2 billion waiting to come purchase our shit. But it's all downhill from here. The business is downhill from here. It's diminishing returns from here. What? What kind of maths is that? It's crazy. There's no diminishing returns. There's just pauses. There's just stair steps. You know? Oliver! Oh, Oliver! They crack me up, these people. Crack me up. That's right. That's some woke maths right there. Seriously. Oh, we're downhill at 0.5% adoption. It's downhill from here. Sorry, Oliver. Diminishing returns. Like, I just can't accept that. That does not make sense in a sane world. It just doesn't make sense. You don't get to, nothing humans have ever adopted has had a value that has had diminishing returns after 0.5% of the people have adopted it. That's just stupid. Let's just put the name. It's dumb. It's stupid. Done. Myth debunked. Diminishing returns myth debunked. Utility myth debunked. Let's go on to the next freaking myth. All right. Let's go on to the medium of exchange. Well, I don't see Bitcoin being used anywhere. That's still a part of this utilitarian thing. I don't see anybody buying stuff with it. I don't see stores accepting it. My goodness. So here's how, when someone comes to me with that, I kind of try to feel out, where's this person's IQ? You know? And if it's a little on the low side, I'll come in like this, right? Let me show you how coming from roundabout like this, if their IQ is a little on the low side. Right? Come in like this. Let's say, so you think gold is better than Bitcoin? I say, of course. I say, well, okay. When's the last time you've seen someone use gold? I'll wait. When's the last store you've seen someone pull out a gold bar or gold dust or a gold coin to purchase something? As a matter of fact, sir, when's the last time you've ever seen gold, period? When's the last time you've seen a gold coin? Never. When's the last time you've seen a gold brick, a gold bar? Never. You don't even fucking know if gold really exists, do you? And you're telling me that you think gold is better than Bitcoin? This is insane. Gold is reportedly the most valuable asset on planet Earth. It is worth approximately, according to the numbers, right? Like we believe those numbers, according to the numbers, it's 17 trillion. Like someone was recording every single ounce of gold that was ever mined for the last 6,000 years. Like we really know. Come on, that number's fucking fake. We know that's fake. But okay, let's go with it. 17 trillion. Okay, yeah. 17 trillion, most valuable asset on Earth. And yet none of you have ever seen someone use it. You've never seen someone purchase something with it. You've never seen a gold bar. Most of you have never seen a gold coin. But you'll use this argument, but I never see Bitcoin being used. Myth busted. You don't need use. You don't need utility for value. We're covering this. You just need it to be safe. You need it to be stored. Gold's value, whatever the real number is mostly because it stores your wealth, not because dentists put it in your fucking teeth. That's not the value. Or someone wears a gold chain. That's not the value. Most of gold's value is the fact that people store their excess there. They have it in some vault somewhere. That's the value. If you took that away, it'd just be another freaking metal, like copper, you know, or aluminum, tin foil. All right. Says Costco offers it, but never see anyone take one out. Guys, you know, if Costco is selling you gold, OMG. Costco is selling you gold. Really? I would run 180 degrees in the fucking opposite direction. If you get to the point where Costco's selling you something, trust me, that's a fugazi. Why isn't Costco keeping it? If it's that valuable, why are they not keeping it? They're selling it to you. It's crazy. All right. So have we busted enough myths here? We bust the utility myth. We bust the medium of exchange myth. It's not used as a medium of exchange. Duh, it's a store of value right now. Now, I discussed this, I think I discussed this a little bit yesterday, but, or at least in one of my posts. Many people aren't aware of the fact that money, sound money, must go through 4 stages of evolution, right? So first, it starts off as a trinket, as a collectible. All money start off that way. Sound money start off as a collectible. Like at some point, you know, there were these agri beads that people liked the way they looked on the net. Oh, wow, that's cute. I like that. And over time, they became money. In Western Africa, agri beads were money. They retained the wealth of that society. Gold initially was a little trinket, somebody liked the way it looked. And they started making little things out of it. Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that thing around your neck. What's that called? It starts off as a collectible first. And as more and more people like the collectible, if the likeness of the collectible grows, it at a certain tipping point begins to morph into a store of value. More people realize that, listen, there's so much desire for this collectible that if I buy it, even I'm not even interested in it, but if I buy it, I'll always be able to sell it. And sometimes higher. So then as more people realize there's so much demand for this trinket, there's these groups that are crazed about this thing for whatever reason. I'm just going to buy a few. Because later, I'll likely be able to sell it to someone else higher. And as one person starts that, and another person, all of a sudden, you start to move to store of value where people aren't, you get a growing group of people that's not interested in the trinket. They're interested in the fact that they're always going to be able to sell this to someone else. That's when it starts to morph into phase 2, store of value. You see, the beginning of Bitcoin's life, it was a trinket. It was a freaking toy for little nerds that sat in front of their computer. The cypherpunk. in their little basement. Oh, cool. With magic internet money. It was a trinket. It was a toy. Nobody respected it. It was just like, they like it. And as this collectible just start to spread and people start to say, wow, this is cool. This is this and that. Others that's not even interested, they don't even know how to pronounce the word cryptography. They see this craze and understand that, wait a minute, if I buy a few of these, maybe I can sell them higher. And so another group comes in that's not interested in the trinket phase. They're interested in the opportunity phase and the extra security, the extra safety that, you know what, I'll always be able to get my money back. And all of a sudden, as that second group grows, it starts to morph into store of value. Now, store of value is a long phase, because what's next is medium of exchange. When we start trading it for things back and forth every day, that's medium of exchange. But you can't get to medium of exchange before you spend an inordinate amount of time in store of value. You see, how do we start trading with each other with it if almost none of you have it? I have it, but nobody in this room has it. How do I trade with them? How do I medium of exchange if no one else has it? So before medium of exchange can ever happen, in truth, you need almost everyone to get it. That's what store of value, the store of value phase of a money's evolutionary process accomplishes. So if I were to walk down Times Square, Manhattan, New York City today, and I walk one city block and I pass 480 people, let's say 500 people on that one block, I guarantee you 99% of them do not have Bitcoin. Out of all those 500 people I pass in one block, 99% of them don't have Bitcoin, right? How can we jump to medium of exchange yet? The day I can walk down that same block, Times Square, Manhattan, and know 90% of the people here have Bitcoin, now all of us can deal with each other. Hey, man, I like that watch, man. That is amazing. Where'd you get that? As a matter of fact, I'm selling this. You like it? It's this. Take a look at it. How much Bitcoin you got? We can communicate. We can deal with each other now, because I can pretty much guarantee everyone I come in contact with has Bitcoin. You can't get to medium of exchange before you get to that place where where you can pretty much walk in any room in the world and know 90% of these people have Bitcoin. So anyone who wants to rush medium of exchange, they're a shitcoiner. That's a shitcoin narrative. They want to jump over all the other two and immediately start their life as medium of exchange. That only happens in your fucking dreams or in Disney movies. That doesn't happen in real life. Real money doesn't work that way. You can't be medium of exchange before store of value and before trinket stage, before collectible. It's impossible. No money's ever done that. And it's this lack of understanding of the history of money that leads people to fall down these traps. Well, Bitcoin is a failed medium of exchange because Satoshi Nakamoto called it Bitcoin, called it cash. Bitcoin, peer-to-peer cash. So it's failed. No. I believe, it's just my belief. I can have a belief. I believe that Satoshi was a marketer. He had somewhat of a marketing mind. You see, he knew that the group that he had to introduce this new thing to, the cypherpunk group, that for a couple of decades before, their whole obsession was with creating a digital cash. The cypherpunk movement was all about creating a digital cash system. And so how does he get the attention of this group to let them know, I have the solution to everything? You know what? I'm going to put fucking cash in the title. That's the only way they'll fucking read it. That's the only way they'll pay attention. I'm going to put cash in there. In my opinion, that's the only reason it's there. It's an opinion, it's a theory, but because he didn't talk about it being cash, he talked about it being a store of value. More. He talked about, this might catch on. If I were you, I'd get some. He didn't say, if I were you, I'd be using it to buy a pair of socks and to buy your shoes with. If this might catch on, I'd get some and start buying milk and eggs with it. He's like, no, I'd get some and hold that shit. That's store of value. So I think he put cash in the title just because nobody would read that in the cypherpunk list if cash wasn't there. I'd be like, you know what I mean? That's my theory, guys. The last and final phase, that is right, Calvin. So it is collectible, store of value, where people start storing, and the numbers of people that have it in all different types of quantities, a few Satoshis to thousands of Bitcoin, whatever. When enough people have that, it naturally morphs into us trading value with each other. With it. I know you have it. You know I have it. And so now our communication, our dealing with each other in a humane way, which is through trade. Trade is humane. If we don't have trade, people, we take. If I can't trade with you, if you have something that I need, and I can't trade something of value that you need for what I need, I'm going to kill you for it. If I can't trade with you, I will kill you. If it comes down to survival, you have something that will maintain my survival. If I can't trade you something that you really want for that thing that I need to survive, I will try to kill you. And so trade is that element that civilizes us. We are the most dominant trading species. It's not that certain animals don't trade. Most of them don't trade. So therefore, most animals kill for survival. They take. But some of them trade. But we're the kings of trading. We are the most civilized that we know about anyway. Because we trade. We're civilized because we trade. Because I can trade with you, I don't have to kill you. And so when enough people have Bitcoin, and I can pretty much guarantee, I know you have Bitcoin, you know I have Bitcoin, almost everyone around us has Bitcoin. Now we can trade. We can communicate and deal with each other in a humane, sophisticated, civilized manner. That's what trade does. And because it's global, and because it's not controlled, it will be hoarded, it will be obtained, it will be latched onto more than any other money that has ever existed in history, because every other money got co-opted. You see, I shared some of my notes on a post yesterday, some of my notes in this book, right? My BTC notes. You see that? I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? BTC notes, right? But I shared some of these notes that I took in 2019 when I was going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. I'm still going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. And I was taking notes about gold. And one of the points I made in my notes about gold is that it's not that gold lost its value. The problem is that its value was co-opted and reserved only for nation states, governments. And that value was taken away, and the citizens of these governments were disallowed to have that value in any significant amounts. You could have a necklace, you could have a ring, you could have a watch, you have a few coins, but you can't have gold anywhere in the world in sufficient quantities. Trust me, you can't get on a plane with with a significant amount of gold. You can't leave your country. In essence, it's really not yours. It belongs to the country. And so try to get on a plane with $50,000 worth of gold. Watch what happens. I promise you're going to miss your plane. I promise you. You will not be able to leave your country with $50,000, and try to go across the border and see if that shit doesn't get taken from you. Gold's problem is that it was taken from the people and hoarded and controlled by the governments, by the elites, by the controllers, by the masters of our plantations. All countries are modern day plantations. Russia, plantation. United States, plantation. Argentina, plantation. Venezuela, plantation. North Korea, plantation. Turkey, plantation. Australia, they're plantations. They fucking stamp us with numbers. This is your social security number. How is that different from a slave? Your stamp, this is your number. We can't leave unless we get permission, a little passport. I got my permission to leave the plantation. And then the other plantation has to accept you in. Oh no, we don't want you. We don't like that slave type. What plantation are you from? No, we don't want that. We don't want those slaves in our country, on our plantation. No, we don't want that. We got a little passes. Remember in school, you used to get a pass to go to the bathroom. I got a pass to go to the bathroom. I got a pass to leave my plantation. It's a passport. I got my number stamped on me. Guys, when the Social Security numbers came out in America, it was common for some Americans to tattoo their Social Security number on their arm so they wouldn't forget it. Freaking slaves. And on these plantations, right? Every plantation has its own coupon. It's got a little building on one of the plantations that cranks out the coupons. It's a building on every plantation called a central bank, right? That's a building on every plantation. And they're cranking out the pieces of paper, the coupons, and they're saying, listen, just because you were born here, Just because you were born on my plantation, you're going to have to work. That's it. You're going to have to work. And listen, I'll let you work. I'll let you keep half of what you make. You give the other half to me. I'll even give you a little tiny plot of land on the plantation. It's my land, but you can use it as long as you pay me rent, called property taxes. You pay me rent for this piece of property, and you can even tell everybody it's yours. You can even call yourself a homeowner. Yeah, I'll let you do that. Pay me my rent, my property taxes. Pay me my rent. You can call it anything you want to. You can say it's yours. It's mine, but you can say it's yours. And I can take that shit anytime I want to, just so you know. Just keep paying me my rent. You go out there and you bust your ass. Now, you're going to go out and work on my plantation, and you're going to work for the pieces of paper I create. You can't work for anything else. You can't work for someone else's piece of paper. You're my slave. You're going to work for my piece of paper called the US dollar. You're going to work for my piece of paper called the Venezuelan Bolivar. You're going to work for my piece of paper called the Japanese yen. You're going to work for my piece of paper called the British pound. My paper, not another plantation's paper. You have no choice. You work for my money, my paper that I make. Now, after you make this paper, you got to give half of the paper back to me. Why? Just because. I can print more, but I still want half of yours, just because. And here's how I guarantee that you work harder every year for me. For this plantation, you're going to not only work until the day you die, you're going to work harder every year until the day you die. So that the day you die will be the day you worked harder than any other day in your whole life. And I'm going to do this because I'm going to make the pieces of paper worth less every single year. How do you like that? So these pieces of paper that you have no choice but to give your life for just because you were born here. You're going to work for this piece of paper, and every year I'm going to change the number on it. The $1, the $10 piece of paper is going to be worth $9 next year. And then it's going, that $9, I'm going to change the number to 8 next year. And then I'm going to change the following year, I'm going to change the number to 7. So all of your pieces of paper are going to become less valuable, which means that the shit that you bought to feed yourself, the milk, the eggs, the this and that, this year, oh, that's going to cost you more. You worked 3 hours to feed your family for the entire week, 3 hours of pay, bought all of your groceries for a week. Well, next year is 4 hours. Now 4 hours buys the same groceries. And the next year, 5 hours of your time buys the same groceries. And the next year, 6 hours of time buys the same groceries. So you give me more time for the same shit. And this will happen every single year of your life until you die. This is all of yours just because you happen to be born here. Now get to it. And people wonder why we call Bitcoin freedom. Bitcoin's freedom, people. Bitcoin's freedom from that nonsense. Right? Slavery used to be applied to a certain class, and the old form of slavery used to be applied to a class of people. Oh, this class of people is going to serve us and pay us. And then at some point it was a color. Oh, this color people is going to be a slave for us. And so slavery was in these pockets, right? This socioeconomic level is a slave pocket. Oh, this group over here is a slave pocket. Oh, this religion over here, people, they're slave pocket. Oh, this color pocket. And then the elite got smarter and be like, why the fuck are we limiting slavery to pockets and shit? Why are we not fucking enslaving everybody? What is this pocket shit? Isn't it just better to just enslave everybody? And so a system was designed to be a modified form of slavery, because you see, people, slavery, 100% slavery is this. When you give, what is the definition of a slave? A slave is anyone who does not own 100% of their time. So a slave doesn't own his time. So 100% of his time, which is his life, time is the stuff that life is made up of, right? So when you don't own your time, when your time is owned by someone else, your life, time is your life, is owned by someone else. So a slave is he or she whose time is not theirs. Their time is owned, 100% of their time is owned by another man. That is a slave. And on top of that, all the fruits of the labor that come from that time are not yours either. That belongs to someone else. So your time belongs to someone else, and all that your time produces belongs to someone else. That is a 100% slave. But 100% slavery can't be applied to all of the human race. That is impossible. But so the powers that be got together and be like, wait a minute, if we pull it back to 50, 40, 50% slavery, everybody can be enslaved. 100% will never get away with that. That can't happen. But if we pull it back and say, okay, give me 40% of your time, you keep 60%. Taxes. Most people work half a year to pay taxes, and the other half is theirs. That's not half slavery. No, that's slavery. They just pulled it back from 100% to half, 40%, half. You're half a slave. Unless you have Bitcoin. If you don't have Bitcoin, you're half a slave. Half a slave. Now, you have to give half of everything that your time produces. You got to give half away. Give half back to the plantation. Then the plantation says, okay, you've been left with half. Now you have to buy from me. You have to buy where you live from me. You have to buy your clothes from me. You have to buy your food from me. And I'm going to make sure those prices are here every single year. I'm going to make them go up so that you have to go on that fucking hamster wheel and run faster for me and faster for me, faster for me. You're a slave. That's what you are. You're a slave. And the worst kind of slave is a slave who doesn't know he's a slave. Some of you are slaves and you don't even know you're a slave. On top of that, even some of you who get into Bitcoin and fail to recognize that it frees you from all of this slavery. You ask me, so Oliver, when do I go back to slavery? But Oliver, I know I have Bitcoin, but when do I sell it? When do I take profits on it and go back to slavery? When do I go back to the old system, Oliver? When do I get rid of this? When do I get rid of freedom? When do I go back to my plantation? When do I go back to the prison cell? I know I'm out of the prison. But when do I sell my freedom to go back to the prison, Oliver? Tell me that. Do you have a law? What about the power law? Will the power law tell me when to go back to slavery, Oliver? You bozos, man. Wow. 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 Crazy. I'm not offending you, am I? Am I offending you? There's 14, almost 1,500 people here. Am I offending you? Hope I'm not offending you. So I don't know if this is a question or you're just making a statement, JCT, but I hope you understand now. I explained this. I spent a lot of time on this. How we're at 0.5% adoption in Bitcoin. That number is not going down. It's only going up. Think of the internet with 0.1% of the world having access to the internet. Did it go down? No, it went up. So as more and more people get it, medium of exchange naturally, it's not a decision by a man that happens. Medium of exchange naturally, through natural market forces, eventually emerges once enough people hold it, where you can walk into any room, any meeting, down any city street, in any town, and know 80% of the people have Bitcoin here. Now that's medium of exchange stage. Now, let me just tell you this last thing about store value. You don't want to rush medium of exchange. In reality, you should never want it to happen because the store of value is the number go up stage, is the biggest number go up stage. It's not that Bitcoin can't rise once it becomes a thriving medium of exchange, but it will be very muted. The biggest rise, the biggest increase in wealth is in store of value phase, right? That's where number go up is number go up on steroids. Medium of exchange, number go up on steroids doesn't exist anymore. That's why people start trading it, because the opportunity cost is not as high. When you have number go up every 4 years, like Bitcoin, nobody wants to sell or trade socks for it, put gas in your car for it, because that's going to be the most expensive gas in my car ever. Nobody's going to want to buy a vacation with it because it's going to be the most expensive vacation ever in 8 years from now. So as long as the value keeps rising exponentially, people are going to want to store it. When that tapers off, the opportunity cost, well, if I pay for a vacation with this now, it's not going to be that much more 4 years, 6 years from now. A little bit more, but it's okay. So the opportunity cost for using it is smaller in medium of exchange. In store of value, you're going to buy a pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin and realize, holy shit, I spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 pizzas? That opportunity cost is huge. So don't rush medium of exchange. If you want this to be a generational wealth opportunity for yourself, do not rush medium of exchange. Someone tells you, well, there's no medium of exchange. Good. I don't see anybody using it in stores. Good. Nobody uses it. Good. No, good. Good. Let's cut them right off. Man, God bless you. Thank you for this awareness. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, awesome, man. Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Really, truly. Listen, I just felt we had to tackle some of these myths, all right? I hope that what we've shared here today is really resonating with you. And I strongly encourage, maybe watch it again, share it. If someone's struggling with some of these concepts, that these things are blocking them from the greatest opportunity of their lives. We do have a responsibility for the people that we care about to do our best to try to get them on board. Otherwise, what kind of human being are you if you don't do that? Like, people ask me all the time, Oliver, why do you do this? I mean, you don't ask anybody for money. Like, what are you doing? You spend 2 hours with it. What are you doing? I'm like, if I'm in a burning building and I find the exit, and there's a whole bunch of people looking for the exit, we're all looking for it, and I find it. What kind of human being would I be if I just, fuck them, I'm going through the exit. Let them find it. What kind of human being does that? Now, I might get close to the exit first and then say, hey, guys, I found the exit. So I won't announce it far from the exit. I'll get close to the exit, then announce it. Because too many people might be there and I might be in the back and I might not make it out, right? So I'll get to the exit. Guys, I found the exit. But what kind of human being wouldn't share that shit? I'm not wired that way. This is joy. This is hope for the first time in a long time. Bitcoin is hope. There's huge faith for the future. There's safety and security being felt for the first time. This is marvelous. It's amazing. It's a miracle. We're fortunate to be alive watching this shit unfold every second, every hour, every week of our lives. History books are going to be written about our time. Your generations not born yet are going to read about you because they're going to want to know which one of my relatives lived during this time. You're going to be famous. And if you are one of the bozos that never did the right thing now, never took the opportunity, didn't have the vision to see what this is for humanity, future generations in your bloodline not born yet will curse you. They will curse the day that you ever lived. Every day that you live, they will curse and say, because of this person, our plight today is what it is. This person had the opportunity and failed to take it. And for this reason, our entire family is here. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that. All right, guys. You know what to do. Go to work. Go to work. Stack harder, guys.
Oliver Velez, and I am your 13%er Bitcoiner. Be safe out there, and until next time.